Oh my days, Rez. That's an amazing intro. I absolutely love that intro that Will's made. Rez, how are you?
Very well, thanks, Kay. How are you?
Thank you very much for coming onto the show, lastminute.com. As you can see, I'm looking a little bit like a werewolf that's been stuck in a cave for a few months. But listen, we've got, Eugene's not on tonight. He's been working recently. And, for him, normally it's like 5 o'clock in the morning. So for him to do the show is always been a bit hard. With him working as well throughout the week, it's going to be impossible for him to get up in that time in the morning to turn up to the show. So viewers out there, apologies, Eugene's not in tonight. But we do have a wonderful replacement, Rez over here. And hopefully that will do. Rez, how's this week been? Been good?
It's been all right, yeah. I'm sort of recovering, or I have recovered now, thankfully, from a bit of illness. So it's been a bit quiet. But I'm back in fighting form. So it's been a good week, good results. Yeah.
You mean for Spurs?
For Spurs, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's
unbeatable, apparently. Unbeatable. Do you think we're going to win the league?
According to some, I'm not going to name names. Okay. There's a long way to go in my view. I think there's still work to be done. There's still progress that needs to be made. We've been fortunate, and so I think we're going to see some bad results at some point as well. But at the moment, we're living high. So yeah,
bad results. I think we've had a lifetime of bad results. Normally, what we'll do is we'll normally step back. Shall we step back? There we go. Mm-hmm. And we're going to start going through the lovely viewers that have turned up. I mean, because it's lastminute.com, there's not going to be that many viewers, but the more viewers that have turned up, absolutely brilliant to see all of them. I'm just going to quickly go through the comments now. I've got Mr. K saying, hi, everyone. Sorry for the delay. That's me. Normally, me and Eugene, we have this competition to see who gets to put the comment up first. And since he's not about, I've won by default.
You won by default, yeah, absolutely.
Right, John Fitzpatrick, there's only one Mr. K. Big up, bro. Pleasure, John. Thank you very much for coming to the show.
Big up, John.
Mark Swift is in the show. Nice to see the show's back. Yep, I've not been well, as you can probably see from my demeanor. I've not been that fantastic. Well, I've not been well groomed in any way. George is saying, big up Mr. K. And Mr. K is saying, love this music. It's not Uzik. Sorry. Uzik. Yeah.
Well, you love the Uzik. It's good.
I love the Uzik. Mr. K, this is not music, bro. Racket is what I call it. Well, technically, I like the lyrics. Tottenham Tantrum Goals in the house. Hey, Mr. K and Rez, hope you're both well. Bryce from down under is saying, hello, lads. Hope you're all well. True Blue Spurs. And obviously, someone does like you, apparently. Look, big up Rez, brother.
I like John.
And George is in the house, too. And he's giving only George a big up to UG.
Well,
what can I say? What can
can you do? But, well, no, he gave you the big up earlier on.
He did as well. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Oh my days! Thank you, George.
Thanks, George. Good to see you guys.
You know, we've the main gist of the show today was really just to go over how we're feeling about Spurs not losing a game, not playing that fantastically, but not losing a game. I mean, it's like. Hi, Prodomac. When you look at our team playing, I wasn't that confident about the way the team played for large chunks of the game. And if it wasn't for the fact that some of the teams are absolutely hopeless at scoring a goal right here, we'd be in trouble. Rez, this could very easily have turned the other way. 3 losses.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been. It could have been. We are fortunate in that we've faced some weaker opposition recently. I think it's fair to say. But at the same time, when you watch the play, you can sort of see things starting to sort of come together. I think with the fact that Conte has come in mid-season, means that he's not had as much time to sort of implement his ideas, with the squad. We've also got the fact that he's not been able to shape the squad in any way whatsoever. He's stuck with the players that he was given when he first turned up. So all of those things, I think, will be a drag for a while in terms of our progress. The main thing is getting the tactical changes in, and that's coming. It's just going to take a bit of time, I think.
What do you think of, the big elephant in the room, Mr. Kane himself?
I think Kane.
I mean, you can't find a bigger elephant than that, can you?
I've heard sort of a couple of different sort of views when it comes to Kane. Some saying that he's basically done, that his head is elsewhere, and that he wants to leave. At the same time, I've also heard the idea that he's still recovering in terms of his mental state from the Euros, from what happened in the summer, from the fact that we hired Nuno, and maybe Nuno didn't quite know what to do with him, but Conte does. I saw a different player against Norwich.
Okay.
It wasn't the Kane that we saw in the first or the matches under Nuno, in which he just looked completely disinterested. He did look sharper, he did look fitter, and he looked like he actually did want to do things. I think right now he's still suffering the hangover from that, and we will start seeing him put goals away. He did come close against Norwich, to be fair.
I mean, I saw there was a lot of good attempts by him, and he was definitely getting in the right position. There's a few times when, obviously when you're playing a heated match, the ball's not necessarily going to come to the place you want it to come. So there's definitely a bit of magic missing between him and Sonny. But to tell you the truth, I did a little bit of video investigating yesterday, and I saw a few things. I was going to freeze frame them and then maybe present them in the show, but I hesitated because, you're building up evidence that's going to kill one of your idols. And I didn't want to do that. You know, I'm still sentimental FC, pure and pure. I'm sorry, but I am. You know, I love my Spurs and I want them to win, and I have deluded dreams that they're going to win every season. That's just me.
Of course.
You know?
Yeah.
But what I saw was what I saw was Mora scoring a beautiful goal, an absolute blinder of a goal.
It was a peach.
What a goal! And everyone came to congratulate him, and Sonny jumped on top of him, big smile. You know, Sonny's always got that smile. And there was a moment when Kane came to the party to hug everyone. Kane didn't look in Sonny's direction at all. At all, not even for a split second, not even eyes. He just looked dead straight at the crowd. He didn't look at him. He cheered, he shouted, and then at one moment, Sonny looked at him, and Sonny's face was all smiling before, and then all of a sudden it dropped, and he hit it well because he put his head down, and then like went off. But I saw 100% that there is a matter between those two.
Right.
I think that there's a matter between Kane and the team.
Right.
He looks like he's part of the team. He's playing professionally. Don't get me wrong. Conte's got him playing. But I don't feel as if Kane's there anymore. I'm sorry. I feel, you know, as George is saying, I do feel for Kane. He's lost a Champions League and Euros for a player without any winners, medals. Must be tough. I think that it is tough, but at the same time, I think there's something definitely a miss, and I think that magic between him and Sonny is missing for a reason, and that is because those two characters are no longer as tight as they used to be. I'm talking about, you know, on and off the pitch, in the training as well as on the ground. I don't think that magic is no longer there. That hug that him, Sonny, and Dele did last season, you know, that is going to be forever etched into my brain as being possibly the last moment of happiness that I saw between the three guys. And since then, Dele Alli's been in the world of his own. Kane's been sulking, and Sonny's the only one that's really, you know, really stepped up, really like stepped up for the team itself and for the fans. And Mike, Hotspur Hustlers, big up, gents, big up to you. George is saying good point. I think that he's talking about his own point, maybe not my point. Hopefully, no. Right. And Bryce is saying 100%, Mr. K. I said Kane and Sonny ain't getting along at all anymore, and it's clear to see. I think it's very abundantly clear because they can't hide it. When you score a goal, if one of your team members scores a goal, there's going to be a sense of euphoria, and euphoria comes from inside and comes out. It takes over you. And I didn't see any of that. Jay Oshrif, good evening. And to Mr. K and Dr. No, apparently. You've been promoted, Rez. What can I say?
Absolutely. I used to be Walter White, and now I'm Dr. No. It's fantastic.
Dr. No. Eunice is in the house saying, K, I need your beard tips. Mine is growing dry. Mine's growing dry. Okay. What you have to do, okay, this is the trick of growing a beard when it comes down to the dryness. Okay, when you first wash it, you got to condition it, and when you condition it and you come out and it's still wet and so forth, you need to put some moisturizer into it. Okay, what happens is that your skin is going to produce a conditioner that's going to go into your beard. The oils are going to go through, but before that system starts to go around and, you know, do its thing, you have to help it a little bit. Okay, and brushing is very important as well because it helps the hair untangle itself. It lets the flow of the natural oils from your skin reach the tips. Until that happens, you're going to have to kind of moisturize your beard a touch.
And
that's my tip anyway.
And stroke
and
it.
Stroke it.
That helps the oil. That does actually help the oil get down to the tips if you stroke it. I'm serious.
I thought it was a psychological thing that I was doing.
No. You do that. You do that. It does help your natural oils in the hair and stuff to get down to the tips.
Right, so George was saying good point. He was actually referring to mine. I'll tell you the truth, mine was actually just more of an observation, which I caught. And because I caught it, and I'm a bit of a nerd, I'll go back and rewind and rewatch it and so forth, and I'll watch different angles of it, and then I'll come to a conclusion. Oh my days, there's something terribly going on. Honestly, my heart broke in two when I saw that. I'm not joking. The Kane that we had is gone. That's a fact. I'm sorry, viewers. I don't want to put you in a downer, Trust me, I don't. I don't. I love Kane more than anyone else you could imagine. But no, that is gone. Will he get his mojo back? I think I'm always hopeful. I'm always hopeful that people can come back together. They can open up, let all their spiel out, and then I think maybe at some stage Sonny's turned around to Kane and like slapped him and said, "What on earth are you doing? You're not playing properly. I can tell." And Kane's probably turned around and said, "Sod off. It's my private thing. Have you seen the way they treated me? Oh, you got a new contract, did you? Good for you." But I think that maybe that's what's happened, is that when people can't talk about something honestly and openly, they'll start to defend themselves for no reason whatsoever, rather than turning around and saying, "You know what, you're right. This may be why I should step up." I think they go into a bit of a sulk.
I think the thing you got to bear in mind is that ultimately a football club is still a place of work for these people, and so in any other place of work, you're still going to get conflicts, you're going to get disagreements, you're going to get people who just don't get on with each other. They're not sort of living in each other's pockets when they do that. So I won't draw conclusions. I won't draw conclusions and say this is definitively happening. Ultimately, for me, there have been examples of strike partnerships who have hated each other and have still done very well. The most sort of shining example was Andy Cole and Dwight York. Absolutely loathed each other, but did very, very well for Man United. So for me, I don't care if there's a problem, as long as it doesn't affect their abilities.
Well, I think to a certain degree, when you talk about it won't affect, hopefully it won't affect their abilities. But the problem is, it is affecting their abilities. As Bryce is saying, it makes it so much more poisonous when our two main attacking threats, because they are such a massive partnership that we need as a team. You could say that they're playing up to a good standard, but the problem is we've seen their standard. It's a lot higher. A lot higher. I just want to quickly just say hello to a couple of the people that have popped into the show. Tiago, Mr. K, Rez, good evening. Goguma's in the house. Talk to K time. Yay! Sean Hill's in the house. Hello, guys. Thank you very much for coming up, guys. Eunice, the old Kane is well and truly done. His shenanigans in the summer and form now have finished him. So it's best to depart ways with him and build on a position we've been desperately looking for to back up. We're going to quickly give a couple of other people hello. Cody Mack is in the house. Hello, gentlemen. Yes, I mean the panelist. Thank you, Dodie. Oh, what have I done? I've accidentally hidden a comment. I didn't mean to. I don't know whose comment I hid, but I accidentally did. A blind man can see there's a problem in the camp. I'm sure Conte will sort it out. John Fitzpatrick, I hope you're certainly right. And have I missed something about Kane and Son? I think to a certain degree...
You almost said something rude there, Mr. K.
No. Sorry. Rez, you were about to say something to add to the equation. I do beg your pardon for jumping in there like that.
No. All I'll say is if there is someone who can sort that out, it will be Antonio Conte, because there are reports. There's stuff said about how he builds good team spirit as well. And also there have been times where there's been conflict as well, which he's also sorted out. So the story that I read was that when he was at Inter, there was some disagreement between him and another player. I can't remember who the other player was, but basically they sorted it. They cleared the air by having a charity boxing match between Conte and the player, with Romelu Lukaku as the MC for the boxing match.
Okay, I heard about this boxing match. I heard about
this boxing match, and it cleared the air. So and everyone talks about how much they loved working for him. There's always been good reports about stuff. There's been one or two that have said opposite, but mainly most players say they do well. So if there is a problem, I trust in Conte to be able to sort it out, be that fixing the relationship or breaking the relationship up and getting rid of one of them. If that
right, Sean's asking if he's missed something about Kane and Son in the news or anything like that. No, it's just basically my observation over the last match, the celebration for Mora's goal. I saw an exchange between Kane and Son, which didn't look like it looked like something's wrong right with Kane at all. Honestly, that's basically it. I'm just exploring that right now because Kane is doing the work, but he's just not scoring the goal. Eunice is saying this is where we are exposed. If we brought in a second striker to feed off prime Kane, then we could have utilized him now and maybe even corrected the situation. I mean, the thing is that when you look at, for example, Aurier, as soon as you brought in Doherty, all of a sudden Aurier suddenly found he could play. So sometimes having that competition alongside you,
always, not sometimes,
always puts you on your feet.
You need a player to compete with.
Right, Gaguma is saying, thank you for joining the stream. Please chat with us, subscribe and like. Yes, viewers out there, if you can like, it'd be very nice. If you can subscribe, if you haven't subscribed, man, for crying out loud, subscribe. By the way, if you want to write comments, I think Will Stewart has put it down into the channel that you have to be a subscriber in order to write down into the live chat. So if you do want to write down something in the live chat, put your point across or ask a question, please do so, but you have to subscribe first.
Click that button.
If you want to unsubscribe afterwards, that's only up to you, but it's a really good channel. Please do pop around. And talking about the channel.
I've heard that if you're a Spurs fan and you don't like and subscribe to the various YouTube channels, in actuality, you're a West Ham fan.
You're actually a good in disguise. I go so far. But listen, what I would like to do is something which I'm supposed to do on a regular basis, but I totally keep forgetting. And that is thanking our lovely Patreon and YouTube members who are right now Spartan7 Gaming, Wayne Bonner, Mama Coates, Celery Agent, AG, Gaguma, Tony Co, Alex Burton, Bob Spur TV, John N, and Colin Lumsden. And the YouTube members are Matt Hayes, Sis Hayes, Danny Kriyaku, Wayne Bonner, Dan THFC, which is, I think, the Yid Kid, Tony Co, Scott M, Kieran McDonald, Tottenham Tantrum, Colin Lumsden, Kenneth Tottenham Hotspur, and Dave Jones. You know what? I could say that a lot more smoother for some reason.
Those guys are definitively not West Ham fans.
They're definitively not. Okay, so Gaguma, she's thanking everyone there. Right, kudos. Thank you very much for coming to the show. Kane isn't finished. He's still got it. I believe it. You cannot get a player that has played the way he has played for 7 straight seasons and then suddenly say, oh, that's it, he's finished. He can't score anymore. That's a load of crock. So, yes, he's still got it. He's just lacking that killer instinct he used to have. Hopefully, it comes back soon. He's still contributing in other ways, bar last game. Okay, he is contributing, and he's doing pretty much what you expect a striker to do. That's in the Premier League, minus the scoring bit, which Kane used to have a speciality at, making him one of the best. Okay, the boxing story, I heard that. Thank you very much, Sean Hill. Hey. It was Lantaro. Now, that's an interesting prospect because that was one of the guys, I wouldn't have mind seeing in Spurs, tell you the truth, to play alongside Kane because he's very quick, agile, very much like an Aguero type player. Gaguma boxing match, that is a cool story indeed. And Tottenham away is in the house. I wonder if that's Stelios. People, in case you're wondering, Stelios is a coach.
No. What?
He is. He is. You should ask him coaching questions. I asked him. Listen, Rez, you've been watching a lot of football recently. If you, not recently, but like for a long time, if you've got a striker that's at the front and he's playing a false 9 position, right, that means he's no longer playing the striker position. He's actually dropping back to midfield.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
So would you say that's a strikerless system?
If your single striker is dropping back, then yeah, ultimately the whole point is to basically bolster the midfield. And if you've got good midfielders who can score, then a false 9 can work very well because you're essentially just putting your what's the link to jump on? You're essentially putting the threat, the goal threat into midfield into midfield rather than having a specific striker.
Do you think I should throw the link at Stelios because he's the one that we were discussing it with, and
Yeah,
he's asking again, what's the link to jump on? What it is, our show here on Talk to K, normally after about an hour, I throw the link in and let everyone jump on. But what I'm going to do, Stelios, just because you've asked, I want to throw the link in a little bit early, because I don't want to make, oh my days, there's so many comments to go through. I will throw the link in after I've gone through the comments. Right? Yeah. So yeah, I got to go through all of them, because while I've been waffling away, I've been falling behind. My administrative duties are very terrible. Normally, Eugene clicks on a few of them as well. Eunice says, forgot to add me on the list. Oh, my days. I totally forgot. Eunice, you will be added onto the list. I'll make a little mental note somewhere.
You've got the little symbol there to show he's a member.
Yeah, no, it does indeed. It's just that he hasn't been put onto our little banner over here. No, he's not on there. No, I'll get Will Stewart to get that sorted out immediately today.
It'll be in the next update.
It'll be in the next update. Right, Sean Hurl, I felt that there's something wrong in the Son and Kane dynamic as all season. You're absolutely right, Sean. I think you have been mentioning it a few times. Maybe Son signed his new contract with the idea that Kane was leaving, and it certainly looked like that. Looked like Kane was leaving, and therefore Son was at the top of the pyramid.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I think maybe that's the reason why Nuno was confused. Right, Eunice, West Ham fans right now living some of their best footballing memories, so I envy them for that. To be fair,
true.
We're living some of our worst, and we're not that far behind them.
Yeah.
So what can I say? We're technically, if we keep our game in hand and we win it, we're actually 2 points ahead of them, or 1 point ahead.
1 point. Yeah.
But anyway, haven't updated Eunice. My bad. There you go, Eunice. In fact, the whole list will be updated. He's on it. Will Scott, I'm saying what Will is doing is trolling. Okay, fair enough. All right, Gaguna, she's saying to Sean Hull, I kind of feel like their telepathic connection before 2 is off. From before is off. I hope it comes back soon. I think there's going to have to be some sort of clearing of the air.
Yeah, I think so. If that's happening, then yeah, it has to, because those two, when they're clicking, very, very good. Very good. Right.
Cody Mack just letting everyone know that Will Stewart is just too busy right here with the Harry Kane Prem tracker to appreciate his members. No, not at all. That's slander. No, please let me on. No, please don't let me on. You know what, John? It'd be nice to hear something that you would like to say. Get your microphone set up and just hop on, mate. I'm going to wait 1 hour as I'm being treated the same as Cody Mack. Bob Spurs in the house. Big up. Big love, family. Oh, yes.
Big love, Bobby.
Oh, yeah. Now, piss off.
Yeah.
Sean Earl, Son seems to have forged a new friendships this season. Bob, so I hope you're getting better, mate, and I hope your isolation's
soon, Bob.
Plain sailing. I hope nothing extra happens. Okay. Yeah. Sean Hill saying Son seems to have forged a new friendships this season. I think basically the position that Kane used to have, where the team used to look up to Kane as a talisman in the game, where when Kane played well, everyone would up their game. I think that's what's happened. The allegiances have changed over to Sonny. And I think Kane might be feeling that, or Kane has deliberately enforced that. Maybe, I don't know. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah.
You think that power struggle is real?
Certainly a possibility. I don't think it's necessarily a power struggle, but it might be that Kane is feeling a little isolated. Maybe he feels a little marginalized because of what happened in the summer. That possibility exists.
I think it's kind of really weird, because it's like you're telling everyone that you're about to leave, and then all of a sudden you're still there. You made all those plans. Toffee 20's in the house. Come on, you Spurs. And kudos. I hope West Ham don't win a trophy before.
Very close to each other.
No, I know. I was trying to figure out some way to pronounce it in such a way that it wasn't complimentary to West Ham.
Do you want to put the comments on, and I'll read them out if you want to? If that's
brilliant.
Easy.
Okay. So
we share the burden.
There you go. I'll let you go with this one.
So I hope West Ham don't win a trophy before they inevitably fall from grace. Yes,
that's kudos.
I hope so too. Kudos, definitely.
Right. Will Stewart, Harry Kane's Prem tracker. Yes. He's about to get that engaged. What else have we got here? The chemist in the house. Well done, chemist. Good to see you. If COVID rumors are true, and we're going to get run over by the number of games towards the end. Oh, we are going to get run over by the number of games towards the end of the season. Well, let's put it this way: we won't have a Champions League final to look forward to. So that's not going to get in the way. So we can have as many games towards the end of the season. But you're right, there isn't. But having said that, sometimes a team is just getting to its gear towards the end of the season, and that's when they're playing exceptionally well. And with Conte being about, with his mental pressure being so much on the team to be constantly there for every second of the game, that may actually come in handy for us. You know, by then players can know their systems, know their training, get a bit more slick with each other, and we be able to be more of a polished article come towards the end of the season than we are right now.
Oh, that's inevitable. I think that will definitively happen because he has to. This is what it really is, because he hasn't had the preseason with them that you know, things are stuttering at the moment. So yeah, you know, we'll see.
Well, Toffee 20's got, you know, he's like me, sentimental FC at heart, and he's saying that Kane will come good. Yes, I hope so. Honestly, I think everybody would want to see that. John Fitzpatrick, can't wait to see an egg on your face. I think we're referring to something else here, which I've totally missed.
No. Will's contention is that Kane is awful, is playing awfully.
Yeah.
Might have lost what he's got, and so John.
Oh, I see. So that's what the comment is. Harry Kane Prem Tracker. Appearances 14, goals 1, assist 1. Yeah. I think Sanchez has caught him up on that one. That's crazy. George is saying that Mora's Prem stats make the worst reading. You know, that's the other thing, is that we've seen Mora step up, and it's good that he stepped up, but his end product, you know, needs to be more consistent. Yeah, in terms of scoring goals. I think that's what Conte was saying that in his press interview. All right, who's Waynus? Waynus, welcome to the chat. Kane has surely been sidelined this season. Anyone else notice a fair chunk of Spurs marketing material is now centered around Son? I have not bought any marketing material for a long time, but I think you're absolutely right. I think those decisions are really made in like the summertime.
Son is a lot more prominent in terms of Spurs' marketing this season than he has been. It has always been sort of Kane, and everyone else. And now it's sort of like Kane, Son, Kane, Son, Kane, and everyone else.
Yeah. And look, Sean's got a crystal ball for this Thursday's game against Rennes, and he says we won't have to worry about Europe at all after Thursday. So, I don't think that's the case. I think we'll win that match. I'm not too sure by what though. Maybe 2-1, 3-1, 2-0, 1-0. But will it be enough?
We can still win, and we can win and still go out though.
We do have a 2-goal cushion.
But compared to Vitesse are playing Mora.
Yeah, they could score in 5. The thing is, the problem is, unfortunately, head to head, Vitesse has got better record than us because they actually beat us. So from that point of view, it's like if we were drawn level with them, then head to head, they would technically be in a better position. So I don't know. I still think it's all in our hands. I still think it's all in our hands. And I think
we'll see where it lands. I think
you remember when Poch first got going with our team. We used to kind of we were the team that would find it hard to break out of the group stages, and we would lose against teams like Young Boys. You know, actually no, we didn't lose against them, but we got scared against. That's one we lost. Yeah. But what I was referring to was that we started to then become consistent and start to play at a top level of harassing and pressurizing and playing to the last second. And when we did that, we were actually getting quite successful in the Champions League and at tournaments and so forth. But it seems to me that we might be going back. You know, we've gone back a few years in terms of progress. So we're going to go through that process where we're going to start to have a difficult time in the current group stages. I think that's where we are right now until Conte can get rid of the crazy games and bring it to more of the consistent games. So let me just quickly move on to the chemist. Players testing positive for COVID, which could mean that we could get up to 3 games being pushed back to later dates. Wow,
it's actually 4 players and 2 members of staff.
Wow.
So one of them is Romero, who is out anyway.
Yeah,
so
he's out till January.
Yeah, it's Sonny. Right. I'm trying to remember who Sonny, Ben Davis, and Lucas Moura, who are the 3 players, and obviously Kuti is also thing, and the 2 members of staff are Ryan Mason and Christian. I've forgotten the surname. The assistant manager, basically. Those are the people that are affected by it.
Do you think that's do you think that's a new variant that's come out? The Omicron.
I don't know.
Because what I was looking up was that Omicron was like compared to previous variations of COVID, this one's a very fast spreading one, and where it's appeared in South Africa, it's overtaken Delta. Anyway, we digress. Let's just move on. Thank you very much. Big up, Mark. Prodomhack. Son is involved in 50% of all goals scored this season. You know, last season he was still 50%. The other 50% was Kane. So, it's like we've lost 50%. That's what we've done. Okay, at least Son has been consistent. The chemist, I just hope it's false positive.
Yeah,
like the last time.
Yeah, exactly. The possibility.
The problem is that you got different people being tested. How can they all get a false positive? Same batch of equipment?
Potentially, yeah.
Potentially, but I don't think so. I think this Delta. I think this new Omicron variant is.
It could be a different virus that they've all caught.
They might have been on the same, same TikTok stream as Delian. Picked it up by touching their hat.
Yeah.
Let's go on to
maybe they've caught his red worm disease.
Right, the chemist is saying that Paratici really needs to get players in the January transfer window. I think there's a massive push. I think there's an absolute gigantic push by him and Conte to make something happen this January window. Because I think to a certain degree, the look in Conte's eye, he had to become very diplomatic. That time when he lost, and he sat there and said, "I've not spoken to the team. I'm like, I don't want to be emotional when I talk to the team." Basically, what he's saying, listen, I might kill somebody. I might kill somebody. I might grab a Winks and whack him around.
If I was the manager after that Moura game, what I would have done, and I know I'm sort of obsessing over it a little bit, is found a pair of scissors, gone into the dressing room and cut off those 2 red dreadlocks that Dele has grown. Right?
Oh my days! I think
not the other
charity auction for that.
The other colors are fine, but putting red ones in his hair is unacceptable. I know we've got a bit of red on our strip, but I'm sorry, we're Spurs.
It's not the same, is it? It's not the same. Right. Stelly, the coach, according to report. Stellini. Right. Bob's for TV. I think we've got another 10 minutes before I chuck the link out into the stream.
That's true,
it's going to give it. I'm just going to quickly go through these and then I'll chuck it out a bit early. Bob's for TV.
What Bob says, yeah.
If we go out Thursday, you mean like go out the competition? Oh no, we would do without winning a single Conference League away game from home. On my days, Spurs, the team of first. You know, I did look at the record of Tottenham's home form and away form in the Conference League, and we're like second or top when it comes to home, but we're near the bottom when it comes to away. So it seems that we've, this fact is true, and it would be that we are the team of first. Faz Redfire's in the house. Hello. We should still beat Ren without the affected players.
Well,
well, the thing is, I don't know.
That's the thing. It's a question of, will they do what they did against Moura, which is turn up and just not give enough, so that so that Conte has to bring on some of the stronger players, and even then it's not enough to stop them from basically grabbing a win. I mean, listen, Moura are going to be living off that for years.
100 years, 50 years. I reckon they got to that.
We beat Tottenham Hotspur.
They'll be going back and saying, "Yeah, we won the cup in 1961." They'll be doing something like that. But the thing is, Ren doesn't need to win, though.
No. So there is that.
They don't need to win. They got their own league and their domestic cups to play. For them, it's just a case of consolidating what they've got. They just don't want to get beaten. They're playing away. I think we're playing at home. They don't want to get beaten. I think they would just hold a solid structure, and then we'll have to break them down.
Although
and then we'll have to wait for some.
They might think to themselves, that Spurs are there for the taking as well.
Yeah,
because that would also be another what's it called? That could be another a feather in their cap if they do manage to beat us, at our place. I don't think they will, unless we play a second string and they do what they did against Mora, in which case I can see them potentially beating us. But I don't think they will if we play a strong team. Right,
just going to draw a line underneath this. I'm just going to move on from this. Sean Hurley is saying the lateral flow is so unreliable. Thank you very much for letting me know. I did one of those. It said I was okay, so I got happy. But PCR test reliable, but Omicron is a game changer. Yes, Omicron is definitely somehow very different. It's very, it gets out a lot more. Right, Mark Swift. Estelle is our own show. We are Tottenham TV. It's good.
It is?
Yeah. It was on earlier today, wasn't it?
It's Tottenham away.
Tottenham away. No, yeah, the other ones too. Right. Let's just move on. Right, Prodomac. It's important to note that Son has been the most clinical forward in all of Europe's 5 leagues since 2016.
Yeah, when he shoots, he more often than not scores. It's true.
Yeah, and on the top of that, I mean, that strike partnership he had last season with Kane, that was unbelievable. To have such a season like that, the way those two were magically linked with each other. Graham's in the house. Good evening, Mr. K, Rez. And you know what? Audio artisans in the house. Right. Wait a second. Ren is second in La Liga.
League.
Right. You know what? I thought somebody was just taking the mick, but that's apparently how you pronounce it.
That is how you pronounce it. Yeah.
Right. Audio artisans in the house. Evening. Hopefully, Ren will play a B team, as they're already through. We wish. We wish.
We'll see. We'll see.
We wish. We wish. Listen, I'm going to copy this link now and pop it out there for absolutely everyone. Anybody wants to chop on, please do so now. I'm popping it out there. Stelios, if you do want to pop on, please don't go on too much about the coach thing. I mean the
You're an evil man.
What do you call it?
Man, Mr. K.
No, I'm talking about the strikerless system, because my understanding and impression is quite simple. If you have a false 9, then he's going to drop back into the midfield. He's no longer playing in a striker position.
Yeah, but
that technically makes the formation a strikerless system.
The whole point of a false 9 is that it is a strikerless system, but you rely on your midfield flooding the midfield because you've got more bodies in there, and that way it does require a bit of pace, though, to be able to break through that final line, because you've got to handle both the midfield and the defense with your midfield. So,
look, I mean, Kane, I'll tell you the truth. I mean, look, the way I look at it right, the reason why I mentioned this a few times to Stelios, because, he's a coach. I was trying to get the discussion with him, saying that Kane has been dropping away from his striker position quite an awful lot last season. And, primarily we all looked at it and said, okay, he's doing that because the ball's not coming to him. Okay. He has to go to the midfield player position, get the ball, become the creative midfield player, right? And then knock the ball forward, apparently. And that's still a bit of a hang up. We've still got that from the team not being a very effective passing the ball out. Now, technically, a false 9 is meant to be a person that drops back from his striker position. And as he does so, he gives the defense a dilemma. Does one of them break formation and follow him? Now, if they follow him, then if you're playing in a 3-4-2-1 or 3-4-3, then you've got these two outer players, Sonny and Mora, who can run in and fill that gap. And then if the ball's played out to Kane, he fixes it, bang, onto him, he goes in, boom, scores a goal. And that is, I think to a certain degree, dropping the striker back means that you could technically not have a striker on your pitch at all. Lionel Messi was famous for this.
Well, that's
put into the striker's position and he would come back.
That's the whole point of the false 9, is you play without strikers, essentially.
Right. Sean, there's kudos in beating a Premier League team for French teams. line us up. Line us up. We're going to give everyone new records. I am not suggesting Ren. Okay, this is Faz. He's saying, I'm not suggesting Ren will be easy to beat, but at home, we've always had a good chance to beat any team with any starting 11. True. We do generally tend to play a little bit better. All right, Bob's for TV. Big up for Stel for getting his own slot on We Are Tottenham TV alongside Sim. Watch episode 1 earlier. Fantastic stuff. Well done, buddy. All right. So big up Tottenham. We Are Tottenham TV. Bob's was telling us that we don't promote the channel enough. I think everyone just takes it for granted that this channel is big and we don't promote it as much as we should. But here you go. Big up Stel and also We Are Tottenham TV. Right, now this is the issue that comes up again and again every season. We don't have the depth of field. We don't have the depth in our squad to play any type of weekend side. And it seems to me that every time we get a new manager, every time, this has happened since Jose came on. Every time we get a new manager and they play their B team, we get caught with our pants down in every game. This happens time and time again. And I remember when it happened to Jose was shocked. And then he went a bit mad. he went a bit mad with the way he was treating some players and so forth. But it seems to me that this is something that Conte will have to address in January, is that you don't necessarily need to bring on world beater elite players. You just need to bring on some strong players with strong mentality, good work ethics, very professional in nature, and they will be able to carry out the things that Conte wants them to do between this point and that point.
Correct.
You know, they don't need to do anything else other than be able to play within their capacity. We don't need to spend a lot of money for that, as far as I see it. Is that something that you would agree with, or do you think we still need elite players?
I don't think we need to necessarily spend huge amounts on every player, but I think it would be nice if we did spend huge on a player, just to put a marker down to sort of say we now mean business, that we are not going to be doing the thing that we have been doing, in as much as, you know, we'll bargain basement shop, we'll wait until the end of the window to see if the price drops, buy a player because he's cheap and not because he fits us, but because he's cheap and we can then sell him on later for a higher price.
So that's going to be the issue, isn't it? That's going to be the issue.
I was saying it on Shelfside Spurs show earlier. Daniel Levy has 55 days to show that he has understood that the playing side of a football club is a black hole into which money disappears and never comes back, right? And if he's understood that, fine, great. We will now start buying players that we need, no matter their sort of, if they're within, obviously we're not going to be splurging, but if we can afford them and they're the right player, we'll bring them in. Not because we can sell them on later, but because they are the right player for the right job that we need. That is what he has 55 days to demonstrate. You're mute, or we can't hear you, Mr. K.
Thank you.
There you go.
I've just realized that Stellus is in the back studio.
Okay.
I don't know how long he's been there for. But anyway, we'll just go for some comments before he gets... I'm joking, put him on. Stelios from Tottenham away, and also We Are Tottenham TV. Congratulations on getting an episode with them. Are you now a permanent fixture with them on a regular sort of periodical sort of thing, or is this one-off?
All you need to know is this
I can't
is
hear
the show.
You. Sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. That's a big microphone.
It's a hairdryer.
What's a microphone, right?
It's a hairdryer.
Okay. Down below.
It's because I'm lying down in bed. That's why, and the microphone was balanced to the side.
Manscaping.
Yeah, it's my.
You don't manscape in bed, Mr. K. You just spill wax everywhere if you do that.
This channel is sponsored by Manscaped. You can buy your new Mr. K Series 300 right here.
You know what? I was going to buy one of those. I think I saw it on Gumtree for like 25 quid.
What, Manscaped?
But I mean, I have to drive all the way to too popular, and
it's not worth it to do that.
just order it online. No, I was gonna say, this show is the one I look forward to more than anything else. I love this show. I think it's brilliant.
It's because you haven't.
Why do you love this show, Stelios? Why do you love this show?
Because it's calm. It's calm, and it's that time of night where people are a bit more relaxed. It's just you create a chilled vibe. Like, look at Rez. He's so cool tonight. He's so relaxed. Look at him.
No, his mum's sleeping in the room next door. He has to talk quietly.
I have to be quiet.
His appearances. Listen. You know what? I think Sean Hurl's got an absolutely fantastic point here. I was upset with Zagreb. Like you don't know. I was so upset because they didn't even have a manager. The meme was that their manager was in jail saying, "Listen, I don't want to take the Tottenham job. I'd rather stay here." But the Slovenia, no. Like, can we drop? Can we drop any lower than this? Has there been a result in your lifetime that you've seen Spurs play against some European team weaker than Mora and lose?
No.
And lose?
No.
Is this like Iceland versus England?
It's like Spurs. This is like Spurs versus Colchester United. Oh wait, we lost to them as well. We lost to them as well.
Worse. Mora are far below Colchester's standards.
Oh my days.
Worse. They were awful.
Blue Note 73's in the house saying, guys, let's be honest, even our starting 11 is weak. Personally, I don't think so. I think our starting 11 is just not. If they were to get together and be trained,
it's not up to
even
speed.
Norwich had a few good chances. True.
Can I just come in on this? I think a good sort of comparison to use is at this point, our team is like a squad that has just started preseason, right? And so they're not going to be playing to the level that, because they've just had a new manager come in, and plus our preseason will have been very different to the thing. This is one of the indictments about the way the club is managed, is that we jump from, manager to manager to manager without actually thinking about whether or not that manager is actually the right fit for the players that we've got. And so, Conte has come in with a very, very different approach to Nuno. So essentially, it really is like we're still at the beginning of pre-season. So Norwich might have caused some difficulties for us and couldn't score. Yeah, by all means, we're not saying. You see, it's the mistake of thinking that just because we won and that we're happy about that, we think everything's solved. No, we don't. We're just happy that we won. Arteta, we trust. Brilliant. Trust the process. Trust the process. But just because we won and we're happy about winning, that doesn't mean that we're saying, oh, everything's rosy and great. No, it isn't. It's a work in progress. But we can still celebrate winning. We can still celebrate 3 points. The work isn't finished. We're still working, but enjoy the
fact that Davis got himself like almost to a position of being man of the match. I mean, that was crazy. Crazy. From being where to where. I think Conte has really brought out that position of the of the three main centre backs, that the either one on the either side can come in like a bit like a box to box midfielder would come in lastminute.com. They're literally coming in like that. Stellis, you're a coach. not to put a big fine, but this thing about what Promac's saying, it's also important to note that Son is ranked 4th in assists behind De Bruyne, Trent, Robertson last 3 seasons.
There you go.
Now, when it comes to assists, is that more to do with the individual player's ability to know what's going on, his football intelligence, quick-mindedness, technical ability to carry it out, rather than always the training that he can receive? Is this more got to do with the player himself than the training?
I think it's to do with the person that's finishing the chances, because there was a season when Luka Modric created 94 scoring chances and only 4 were taken. So Luka Modric ended the season with 4 assists. If he had a Harry Kane or a Salah or a Mane in front of him,
he would have won the league.
So
Yeah, but this is the point that we've got to. I think this is where Stelios and many of us have got
credit.
to. Yeah,
you have to give Kane credit for Son's high assist, because who's finishing the chances?
Yeah, because you don't get an assist if you don't score.
Yeah,
exactly.
But as I was saying, this point that making earlier, that Modric's 95 chances created and only 4 of them being taken. It seems that we're always missing that 1 or 2 players, and we have been for the last 10 years. Just that 1 or 2 players that will just take us to another level. And the other level is what? It's really trophies.
It's what Rez said. If you keep changing your manager, the manager's coming in and they're not his players. So the players you've bought don't make sense anymore. But because we never buy players for the manager anyway, we buy players that make good business sense. We're never ever building anything that is going to be successful, because it's the manager that has to be the one that picks the players for the way he... Look at Conte. He's playing a completely different way to any manager we've had before. So why would these players suddenly just fit into that method?
Yeah, exactly.
Some will, some won't. So he's doing a good job with what he's got.
I don't. Fez is saying that basically, if all our registered goalkeepers would catch COVID, then it would just postpone the match on Thursday.
Would it really?
It might do, but the issue here is that even if they postpone the match, UEFA have the rules are that the group stages have to be played by the 31st of December. So even if it is postponed, it will only be postponed for a maximum of 22 days. So 22 days. So yeah, there's no out, there's no escape at this point when it comes to the Europa Conference League.
There was this. Look, I just want to come back to this point made earlier regarding our depth and saying that our starting 11 is weak as it is. Personally, whenever anyone asks me, like, what do I predict going to be the score? What's Tottenham going to play? I always say 4-1, because I always believe that within that starting 11, there is a team of players that has the potential to put 4 past any team. Any team. You could be up against it for 85 minutes of the game, and you get 4 chances, and bang, 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 bang. We could do it. I believe in our team that they have the ability to do that. The question is, can they hold it together for that length of period of time? That's always been the issue. In terms of their overall quality ability, I believe it's good enough. So seeing team like losing against Zagreb was painful. Losing against Mora was even more painful, because I look at the way the team is, and even if you play the second side of the team, it should always be in that position. Conte has to create a backbone in our football team. We've seen them playing better. We've seen them doing things which we haven't seen them do last season or even under Nuno, in the way that they're passing the ball in the inside lanes and so forth. There is a more concentration. Seems to be a concentration. Let's bring the ball a little bit more in. Whereas before it used to be on the outside, trying to skin along the to get to the byline if possible. But now I see there's a concentration of the ball coming in a little bit more. They're losing it a few times, but they're still trying. Can any of you guys see a backbone forming in our team? Because I saw the way Conte I saw the way Conte gave some male bondage to Dyer after Mora scored a goal. Basically he hugged him, stroked his head, patted him.
Leather outfits and masks.
That's bonding. What Kay said. Bondage is what you said.
We can't see the lower half of Stelios, so there's a reason for that.
Some kind of underground dungeon below White Hart Lane where they just
one of them dresses as the Gimp. And
you feel
the ball in his mouth and all of that stuff. That does happen.
I think that happens.
Do you feel that we need to have a couple of more players come in to create a backbone, or do you think that we have the players but they just need to?
From what I understand of Conte's system, he doesn't have a backbone per se. He actually probably has an exoskeleton, because he relies on his wing backs. So a lot of the
Right.
a lot of the thing comes from the sides of the thing. We have been playing for the last few seasons very narrow, very central, trying to work the ball into the box to score. Whereas his approach, from what I understand, is quick transition from defense into attack. That's why you use your wing backs, and he likes to play triangles between different segments to break the lines. So for us, it's not necessarily about having a spine down the middle. It's about having very good passing ability, so you can break lines that way and if you need pace to sort of get past an opposition, that's where your wing backs come in and you spread it wide to move the ball up faster.
Yeah, but the thing is, when it
what I
comes to the ball coming
understand.
back the other way, but if the ball's coming back the other way, you do need to have that central spine to make sure the ball doesn't go through the middle.
That's why you've got your three central defenders and again your wing backs, because then that's why he likes fast, fit wing backs who can get back into position to make a defensive five if the ball is lost.
What I saw under Nuno, Stellis, correct me if I'm wrong, but when Nuno started playing, when he first started getting our teams formed, he started doing a 4-3-3, and what that gave, it didn't give us much results in terms of scoring goals, but what it did do was it made our defense look a little bit more solid, especially in the center. Do we need strong characters in that central spine to come in, or do we have them? They just need to raise their game.
I don't think you can judge at the moment because we haven't played anyone good. We played Everton away, who haven't won a game until yesterday when they beat Arsenal, but they hadn't won until September, and so that they went almost 3 months without a win. We played Leeds United, who are 16th place. We played Norwich, who are getting relegated. We played Mora, who are ranked 2,556th in Europe, and we played Brentford, who I think were one of the poorest teams to come to White Hart Lane this season. And okay, they had injuries, but they bottled it. So I think that's a good question to ask after we play Brighton away, Leicester away, Liverpool and West Ham, because that's going to be the test of where we're at with these players, because
Absolutely.
we're off to a good start with Conte, but he's had an easy start. This is the perfect start for him to try and embed a system and a way of playing. Look, there's some players that have surprised me, like Dyer. Eric Dyer's doing better than what I thought, but has he really come under pressure? Has he really been pushed yet? I don't know.
Not yet.
So
Not yet.
The one standout player, hands down, who just looks every week like he means business is Oliver Skipp. Oliver Skipp is right now, for me, he's player of the season. If the season ended now, he's my player of the season. I think he's been fantastic. He gets it. He gets exactly.
Did we not? Were we not in this position last season when we looked at Højbjerg playing in that role?
Yeah,
and Højbjerg did well.
Yes,
Højbjerg
that's
did
my
well.
point. My point is that it's like if we got competent people playing in that particular role, they become really central to our game plan.
So okay, I was saying this on We Are Tottenham TV today. We need to understand what two holding mids are supposed to do in a back three. When the wingers push up forward, if we lose possession and they attack us down the wings, you need one holding mid to go out wide. Like that challenge when Skip made that slide tackle and scooped the pass whilst he was on the ground against Brentford. Do you remember that moment? And everyone's like, yeah. He's supposed to go out there and do that. And then Højbjerg's supposed to tuck in. So they're supposed to move like this across the middle when there's a counter-attack down the wing.
Yeah.
When we're building up the play, you're now looking at them to link defence to the wing or defence to the strikers, mainly to the wing. They don't.
Is that what they call a double pivot? Because there's two of them.
Do you know what, Mr. K? These FIFA terms, double pivot,
strikerless system, false nine.
Box to box player. I
don't understand the box to box.
I just call that a centre mid. That's just.
I call that centre mid as well. Go up and down, mate.
But okay, look, fair enough. Box to box. I just think that sometimes Skip and Højbjerg get it right. Sometimes they don't get it right. And I just think it's a work in progress. They're still trying to suss out what Conte's asking of them, and they're still trying to suss out when they should go wide. like Ben Davis and the other right wing back, which was Romero, they should never be going out wide. Never, because then it leaves a gap in the middle. If that does happen, then the holding mid has to drop into the centre-back role. That never happens. They don't do it. So it's a work in progress. But to be honest with you, I think in the long run, we're only going to play with one holding mid. I think once Conte brings a couple of players, we're only going to have one holding mid.
Mm-hmm.
But that's
I think it'd be too. I think it'd be too stagnant if we just played with two. I mean, it doesn't make sense. Everyone screamed about two holding mids when Nuno was.
Do you know why he's doing it?
Was in charge.
Do you know why he's doing it? He's doing it the same reason as Nuno. He doesn't trust the defense. He knows the defense is. Listen, at any moment, Sanchez could screw up. At any moment, Ben Davies could get done for pace. So he's not.
It's also the reason. It's also the reason that Mourinho played like that as well.
Exactly.
He didn't trust that defense.
Mourinho was too defensive, though. He was too much.
Of course. But
1-0 up and
the
then
principle
minutes.
was he didn't trust that defense. He didn't trust that defense because it's been breached so often. You know.
Yeah.
Look, if he does bring in another solid defensive player, that will free up the midfield to put in a creative midfielder, as Will is saying. Rez, you want to take this one on? Paul Russell.
Don't know. I don't know. I from what I saw, it wasn't anything particularly substantive about the freeze.
Just another rumor, is it?
This will happen for Conte and any new manager that comes to Spurs. We saw it with Mourinho, we saw it with Nuno, we saw it with Pochettino even when he first arrived. Oh, this player is going to be bought by Spurs, that player is going to be bought by Spurs. It's nothing but speculation right now. Ultimately, this will probably have the tiniest little grain of truth in it, because what will happen is that, you know, the Fry's agent will speak to people and say, is there any possibility of Spurs? Is there any possibility of this? Just to see where his client might be going, you know, in winter or in summer. And so that will
just in case the viewers are watching.
Come from it,
this is Paul Russell's question, saying, what has happened to, how do you pronounce that name? De Vrij?
De Vrij, I think. I'm still not 100% on my Dutch.
How well did Rez just say that?
Amazing.
I was just blown away.
I mean, it's got an R and a J in there, and I couldn't hear either of them. All gone quiet in the front, and now we're supposed to feel for others. Right.
I don't know.
Cody Mack is saying, all jokes aside, super happy for Stell's new show at We Are Tottenham TV. Sounds like an excellent segment. Looking forward to watching it.
I owe it all to Cody Mack.
There you go.
Cody Mack.
There you go. Mentioned you. Right. Toffee 20. That 3-3 West Ham draw was the end of Mourinho at Spurs.
No, the loss to Liverpool was the end of Mourinho at Spurs.
That
last minute loss.
I think Dinamo Zagreb, the 3-0 was the.
Oh no, the writing was on the wall before then. He was on his way out before then, but it was the Liverpool thing, because at that point the players just gave up.
I mean, this 3-3 West Ham draw is similar, but not the same as when we let in 2 goals against, I think it was it Vitesse? No,
Vitesse.
I've forgotten which game it was. Vitesse, right? We were winning 3-0, and all of a sudden they scored 2 goals, and now we're 3-2, and we're watching the game thinking, "Oh my days, what's going to happen in lastminute.com?" And we're all nervous. Now, some people mentioned at the time, and I observed when I reviewed the game, that Conte had made some substitutions and changes. All right, and those substitutions and changes helped solidify the team a little bit. Now, what I've noticed is that one of the things that Poch wasn't that fantastic at, Nuno wasn't that great at, and Jose definitely wasn't that great at, was the substitutions to solidify games. They would want to solidify the game, but they'd end up choosing the wrong moment, the wrong player, and the wrong tactic. Whereas what I saw Conte doing was seeing us lose like that, tweaking the game a little bit, and preventing us from drawing the game 3-3. So I think that particular test of the of being in a winning position to losing the winning position, Conte's passed that test for me, because he made changes to the team, he made tweaks to the tactics, and he started shouting an awful lot. So, you know, all 3 of these things really, really count. if you want your team to buck up when they're losing, when they lost 2 goals very, very quickly. You need to get into their head. And I think Conte has done that. Is he going to get to the Mora game right? Yeah. I think that one hurt a lot more. You know, that he talked about crazy, but Mora was like in one direction. It was them attacking us. You know, which
Mr. K, do you know what it was about Mora? I think that game was a shock because we never thought that would happen under Conte. And when it happened to Poch with Colchester United, we were like, that's embarrassing. When it happened against Dinamo Zagreb, we were like, Mourinho, that's it. He's done. It's done. These players, they've let Poch down. They've let Mourinho down. All they do is it was all on the players. This game against Mora that we lost, I think we were actually in shock because it just felt like we'd gone back to square one after that. I don't know about you, but I felt like I can't believe that's just happened with Conte in charge. I think, do you know what? That was the realisation of what Will Stewart's always been saying. These players aren't good enough. I think that was the moment we realised, do you know what? These players aren't good enough. And
I would refine what Will says.
Again, by the way. That will happen again, by the way.
I would refine what Will says. It's not, for me, it's not necessarily a question of the players aren't good enough. I think it's a question of the players some of the players don't have the right attitude. They don't take it seriously enough. They are complacent. I think that's what the issue is. Some of our players, they might not be super talented, but they are serious. They are professional. They take the job that they are doing very seriously. Ben Davies is the perfect example of that. He's not the most talented footballer, but he always gives 100%. You know, so that's the problem with the likes of Dele and Ndombele. It's not that they're not good enough. They probably are, but they don't want to do it. They're just like bad employees.
Didn't Ben Davies play against Mora?
He came on, but before that, I mean, you know, the reason that he had to come on, and Kane had to come on, and all these other sort of, you know, the top level players.
4 substitutions in one go.
Yeah, was because they just weren't doing the job. You know, a lot of these players.
You could see it, and rather than waiting for the end, the inevitable, he said, "Sorry, I'm going to make a change." And this is what I was talking about earlier. I was saying that Conte's ability to change the match during the match seems a lot more progressive than any of the predecessors I've seen in his seat. You know, going all the way back to Poch, for example. You know, but over here, Reload XXX. Welcome to the stream. He might not have 2 holders, but he'll want 2 defensively minded players. Matic and Kane at Chelsea. If he goes to a 3, might add more creativity to the enter. Brozovic behind Borella and Eriksson. I think to a certain degree, you know, it's looking that way with the type of players we've got. We've seen Højbjerg when he's playing for his international team is the midfield player that's actually going to go forward, okay, and create those last-minute.com passes or alternatively smacking the goal. Go on.
Do you not think Skip is better at that?
Well, Skip's got a lot of energy.
He plays killer passes though. He played one the other night against Brentford.
I think that we've got 2, and to a certain degree, right now we need both of those guys on the pitch. But as soon as we get someone strong to come into the midfield position, then we've got enough games to split those 2 guys up, so we can swap Højbjerg for Skip, and then have the more creative players on the side there. That's what I think will happen. But right now, the lack of creativity is down to the fact that we're trying to keep the game and the team solid. And these 2 players are the best ones we can put in the midfield at a particular time. But when you talk about creativity in midfield players, isn't that what Winks is meant to do, though? Isn't he meant to represent that?
He can't play.
No. Let's be realistic. Let's look at what we can actually see.
He can't play that defensive role, Mr. K. He cannot play in that holding mid role. He can't do it.
Is he any good at the role that's in front of the holding mid?
Yes, he can do it, but he's not.
There are better players available. There are better players available to play that role if we need it.
There are better.
Okay.
Why should in the same way that like Davis has played really well in the last few games, right? But if there's better players, if we can upgrade on Davis, do it. Just because he's played well, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't upgrade. And it's the same with Winks. You know, there are better players out there. We should be able to upgrade for relatively cheap as well to get someone who's better than Winks. You know.
Yeah. Well, are we going to be able to sell Winks at all in any way? And why should we, considering how many players we don't have that are homegrown? Toffee 20, Mourinho abandoned attacking football after that West Ham draw. Now, this is what I noticed difference. What I personally see as difference between Conte and Conte and Jose. Okay, what I saw Jose do was Jose allowed some of his emotion, some of his ego, to get the better of him, and that blindsided him to reacting to a situation rather than having a plan that's been formulated and we're going along with it. Conte seems to be completely different, right? He seems to have his own plan that he wants to implement, and he's evaluating the players to go into it. He's giving them the opportunity to mess it up. Okay, he doesn't want them to, but he's giving them the opportunity. If they mess it up, he'll replace them. He's not afraid to do that. Swap you out in the 20 minutes, swap you out after 15 minutes. He's willing to do that. I think Conte is a lot more. I don't know how to say this, but he's a lot more assured of himself in terms of what he wants to do than Jose was. I think Jose got a little bit too emotional.
Mourinho is always sure of what he does. The reason that he abandoned attacking football after West Ham was because he was brought in and told to play attacking football. And because of that, he delivered what his employer told him to, until such time as he knew at the beginning it wasn't going to work long term, and that defense was weak. And so what he did, this is speculation, I'm not saying this thing, but this makes sense.
That's why he kept changing the defense all the time.
Exactly. And he had to play defensive because that defense was just not able, right? We shouldn't have hired Mourinho in the first place, but not because he's Mourinho. We shouldn't have hired him because he wasn't the right fit for this club, right? But once we hired him, we should have basically allowed him to do what he wanted to do. Okay, if I'm talking about in terms of what the club should have done, I'm not talking about what the fans should have done. The club should have basically said, right, we're hiring Mourinho, we hire him to do what he wants. And that means that if he wants to piss off certain players, that's fine. If he wants to drop certain players, that's fine. But you let him do what he wants to do, right? When you interfere with what Mourinho wants to do, it goes wrong. Happened at Man United, it happened at Spurs, it happened at Chelsea the second time, right? You either buy into Mourinho or don't hire him, right? We shouldn't have hired him. But when you do, you need to buy in, and we didn't.
Right. The chemists, we don't have anyone on the bench that can see out the game.
That's right. That's
Bergwijn, he got injured towards the end, didn't he? Did he get injured towards the end? We've got Dele Alli.
The chemist, what do you mean we don't have anyone on the bench that can see out the game? What do you mean by see out the game?
He means the depth of squad. The depth of quality that we don't have at the squad.
If you're talking about injuries, I'm not sure that's what the chemists mean. I'm saying we don't have players that we can bring on who can then control the game and keep it safe.
Yeah,
that's the interpretation that I would take, and on that score, I would agree with him.
Yeah, no, I look, this concept of having like depth in squad right here, I think only once in the last few years I actually saw a squad that looked fantastic. You remember that season when Jose came in, like at the beginning of the season, where they brought in Bale, they brought in Reguilon, Doherty, and so forth. It looked like a really good bench. You know, obviously the proof of the pudding was in the eating, and that didn't turn out to be quite the same thing.
I'll tell you one thing. As soon as Reggie went off against Norwich and Tanganga wasn't working in a right wing-back position, so he brought in Doherty. Basically, as soon as we had no Reggie and no Emerson, our wing play went to shit.
Yeah,
it wasn't good enough, and everything came down the middle.
We've got sorry, I can't pronounce this gentleman's name or lady's name. It's this Los Keflot.
Leave it to Rez. Rez,
Rez, can you pronounce that name?
I would say Los Kai Flout.
Oh, no, low sky flout. Low sky flout. Low. I don't know. Listen, welcome to the stream. If you can give us a clue as to how to pronounce that, that'd be really great. But for the time being, Son didn't get the credit he deserved, despite him scoring from very few chances and providing many assists. He's talking about a previous statement that was made, right? Yeah, that said that Son's achievements.
He did get the credit because he got a 4-year contract. He has got the credit.
No. What that meant was that
fans.
No. What I'm talking about here is that because Kane has been playing so brilliantly, guys, listen. Because Kane has been playing so brilliantly, it's sometimes overshadowed how good Sonny was really playing.
That's what
until the time when Kane dropped.
English player in an English league, he'll always be the darling.
He always will be.
Just like an Italian player in an Italian league, he'll be the darling.
We have the first team squad and the third. The chemist is saying we have the first team squad and the third team squad, just nothing in the middle. We don't have a second team squad. I agree with you.
Yeah.
You know, this is quite a serious little bit of a matter.
That's
because
so funny. That's so funny.
No, but it's so true though. No, but it's so true. It's so true. The difference between our first team and anyone else is such. We should have a whole bunch of people over here that are currently loaned out somewhere, and not to some Mickey Mouse clubs. You know, some decent clubs out there. Like we should be loaning out to Ajax, but we're not good enough apparently.
It's like we've got a mid-table Premier League team, and then we've got a non-league team. We don't have a championship team.
Okay. Right, I'm just going to move on to Luca 14. Luca 14, welcome to the stream. Agree with Rez on this. For me, that's what I call an honest footballer and dishonest ones versus Mora. There was just too much football dishonesty in our team. Yeah. Oh, my days. I think Conte saw that, and that's why he substituted 4 people. I've never seen any one of our managers do that, and that tells you that he could spot that there was just too much going on. He needed to change the mentality of the players on the pitch, and you can't just change 1 or 2. You need to change a whole third of them. That's what he pretty much did.
I reckon if Conte could have, he probably would have made 9 substitutions if he had the ability. He just couldn't. You know?
Protomac has the same point as Stelios over here, saying that basically the English bias for Kane is so pathetic that they will never talk about Son's accomplishments in the same sentence. Son is the complete package. We know. Now, the thing is, it's not just English bias. There's also a bias against Spurs, which you have to overcome as well. You know, so he's got double there. You know, it's even harder.
There will always be an emphasis on, I mean, within a country on the player of the same nationality. I mean, if you look at other countries, they, you know, like in Denmark, when Christian Eriksen was playing for us, they talked about Christian Eriksen. You know,
go to South Korea, see who they talk about.
Exactly.
Kane or Son.
Yeah, whether it's Kane or Son. It's just the country that they're in. It's not.
Right.
It's not. It's a little bit problematic, I agree, and they should be fairer, but it's not all that sinister. It's just something you've got to live with, I think.
Just very quickly, Paul Russell, do you think that if we get Kessie, do you think that Højbjerg will be sold? The answer is no. We need to hold on to quality players so that we actually want to play properly, not let them go.
I watched Liverpool AC Milan tonight, AC Milan Liverpool, and I watched Kessie play. I'm not 100% convinced, you know. I'm not. Listen, it was one game. It's Liverpool, but I don't know. There's something. It's just something that was missing. It was like just at the end of his game, there was something missing. It could have just been tonight, but
okay. I'm gonna bring Shane on. Shane Black is on. Hopefully he's finished smoking. So there you go. Hi Shane. Shane, how are you?
Hi Rez.
Hey buddy.
I'm okay.
You're looking good. You're looking good.
I've been better, but I'm okay.
Nice and sunny out there. What time do you have it where you are?
It's almost lunchtime. It's 10:40.
10:40.
Nice.
Shane, I wanted to bring you in on your opinion on this. Scott M is saying that the honest players with no talent is people like Dyer, Davis, Mora. Sorry, Mora are just as much of a problem as the talented guys who don't care enough.
No. They're not as much of a problem. They are a problem, but they're not as much of a problem.
Right. We don't have the talent to carry plugs like them. Wink, Sanchez, and Deli.
I think
Listen,
Scott's got an agenda against Mora.
Oh, we know that.
We all know
He
that.
admits it. He admits it himself.
He admits it himself. So,
No. Let's forget about Scott for a second. Let's just concentrate on the actual terminology of what he's put down. No, the thing is, right, is that we've had Conte's turned around and said it straight. That you can work as hard as you want. You can be as committed as you would like to be. Your desire can be shining. But if you don't have the quality to go with it.
I think he was talking about the squad as a whole. He wasn't talking
squad
about
as a whole.
individuals.
Well, the thing is, at the end of the day, we do have an awful lot of players that, the quality of, they're not exactly elite players. So therefore, if they train really hard.
But the thing is is that if they work hard, right, they are at least doing their best at the moment, there's nothing we can do.
I think
so this idea, there's nothing we can do about the squad, right? The transfer window doesn't open for another 20 odd days, right?
No.
So what do you want them to do? Not play? You don't want them to play because they're a problem. No, that doesn't work. The ones that you want are the ones that are going to work hard. So that rather than them being a problem, they are an asset right now. Sorry, Shane, go ahead.
No, you're right. I think that's why Conte likes Cassie, is because he works hard. He's a hard worker. He's industrious, as Stella was saying. He didn't have a good game last night.
Yeah, I agree.
But he is a quality player. He's an improvement on Højbjerg. Pick up, Mark.
So I'm going to flash these across the screen. Don't worry, Shane. You just carry on.
Just keep your thumb up, Shane, because it's going to be a number of things. Yeah.
But players like Lucas Moura, but he said it himself that he doesn't score a lot of goals, but the goals that he scores are worldies. That goal against Norwich was a worldie. It was a beautiful play, beautiful interlocking play between him and Son, and just a smart finish.
Wonderful goal.
Listen, guys, do you feel that goal was a bit desperate? Like he had nowhere to go. He played himself into a little number 10 position.
Mr. K does well like that.
Mr. K, I'll tell you what it is. When we attack down the middle, on these breaks, we don't have enough runners going down the middle. We don't. I was saying it tonight. We don't. We're always outnumbered. We've always got 4 against 6 or 3 against 5. So we're almost forced to take long range shots. Just look. Moura took a long range shot. It was a worldie save. Son took a long range shot. The goalie made a save. Harry Kane took a long range chip. He missed a goal. Why are we having to shoot from so far back? We don't play football down the middle that splits teams opens, and we have one-on-one situations, or we don't have like a 2 against 1 or a 3 against 2 or 4 against 2. We don't create those situations under Conte. That might come, but at the moment we're not doing that. That's why when you say, do you think he was desperate? Well, yeah, because we can't get close enough to the goal. We have to shoot from distance at the moment, unless we play with the wingers who get balls into the box or set pieces where we're scoring from corners at the moment. I think
Son plays really well when he's up there, and he as you were saying, Stel, with that 2 or 3 on 2 or he's up there. He is really good in most situations, and he's lethal in most situations. You don't forget, Harry Kane had a shot from outside the box that was tipped around the corner as well. Yes. So
not there. You're right. There's another one. Yeah.
But that's he's. I see Kane as trying very hard at the moment. I think earlier in the season he was half-arsing it. To be perfectly honest, he was half-arsing it, but now he's really giving it a go because Conte effect.
There is a Conte effect.
He's working harder. I think he's definitely working harder.
Can I ask you guys a question about Kane? I don't want to bring up the whole Will Stewart tracker debate because we'll be here for an
Heat
hour.
map.
Yeah. My question's simple. Harry Kane isn't scoring at the moment, okay? How long do you give him before you say he just needs to start on the bench?
Yeah.
How many more games would you give him before you say, right, he just needs to take he can come on as a
breather.
sub. Yeah. How long would you give it? And forget who comes in his place. That's for Conte to sort out. But how many more games would you give it?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a very good question.
I've been saying in the past that he needed to be on the bench for weeks.
Yeah.
I've been saying it for weeks.
The question here is that we're asking a player to go onto a bench because we feel that his current form is not that great. And we're hoping that by doing such a maneuver, his form would go up, or we're just reacting to that situation. The thing is, we don't have the alternative. We don't have no saber to rattle at him to say, okay, fair enough, we're going to bring this other striker on.
No,
But
Mr.
what
K,
I'll say, can I answer that?
That's
Silas?
not what-
I think, the question is, forget who you replace him with.
Yeah.
Just concentrate on Kane. When do you drop him?
This is my point, is that no matter how terrible he may play, he's still going to play better than some of the other players.
How do you
And
know he's
you know,
playing awful
and the
at
thing is,
moment?
you know, the one time when he might turn around and kick the ball, he might score a goal. But no matter what anyone does behind him, they won't score that goal.
So that's the question.
So,
How long
you
do
can't
you
drop
trust him to be able to do that? Do you trust him in
You trust him
forever?
until he goes out the club.
There's your answer.
So basically, no, that's fair enough. So your answer is you never drop him.
You can't drop
I
him.
don't think
No.
that's right. I don't think that's correct. I think
You're
do
paying
need-
him. If you're paying him the type of
I
money
don't
you're
know
paying
when.
him every single week, right? Yeah, you got to put him on that damn pitch.
No,
So
because
one
if he's
minute,
not contributing,
hold on.
come on.
I'm saying if he's not scoring, when do you drop him? At what point?
Yeah.
And your answer is a monetary one. Forget that.
Yeah, you don't.
Ndombele earns 200 grand a week. He's
Okay,
on the bench every
he's
week.
not playing.
So,
Yeah.
so that doesn't-
Let's
that
have a
doesn't
look
make
at. Let's have a look at, for example, who's that boy that used to play for Crystal Palace? Still does at the front, Benteke.
sense. Yeah.
Right. I mean, how long did that boy go on for without scoring any goals?
A long time.
And they still
he
played
should have
him.
been
And
dropped, but they did drop
No,
him.
and they
from
still
time to
played
time
him
as well.
week after week after week after
Mr.
week.
K,
They still played
where
him.
did
you're
Chris
fine. I think you're
and
fine.
how many times have Crystal Palace got into Europe with that strategy?
Yeah.
I'm lucky that I'm a bit surprised they still stayed in the Premier League. But let's forget Europe for a second.
So we can't compare ourselves to Palace. Compare ourselves to the teams who are challenging for top six. Top
No, what I meant was,
What would they
what I
do?
meant was, is that if you have a striker at the front who's not scoring goals, he's able to provide other things. The only
he's
problem
not.
we've had in
One
Spurs
assist.
is that the only problem, distract the defenders. There's no assist for that. Okay, there's no brownie points for
no
that.
metric
You don't
for
get
it
a
either.
higher scoring sofa score for pulling a defender out of position.
But there's no
Anyway, I
metric for
digress.
it
My
either,
point
I
is
say.
this. My point is this: is
Yeah.
that if we had a band of midfield players and inside forwards that were scoring goals, and we didn't have the goal difference we have right now, then we wouldn't perceive it too much of a problem. The fact that Kane is not scoring that many goals. The point is, at the end of the day, the coach who's being paid the money to do the job of selecting the players, he's turning around and saying, "No, Kane is playing well."
I think Benteke is not getting the service that he likes to play. He likes to be a poacher inside the box, get the ball onto his head, and he'll score every time.
And
like
Palace just don't
Lukaku.
have the capability.
Yeah,
They just
Palace
don't have the
doesn't have the
capability.
capability to play that. You got a worldie as Wilfred Zaha, but he doesn't get enough balls into the box onto Benteke's head. Kane's a whole different kettle of fish when it comes. Yes, he can do that sort of stuff. He can be a poacher, but he likes to drop deep and play the ball, hold the ball up, play a beautiful pass into Son. Son goes ahead and scores, or across to Lucas Moura, that runs at, two defenders and then runs into a blind alley, but that's a different story.
Yeah, you see,
It's such a difficult one, isn't it?
No, it is a
difficult.
very difficult
Look,
one.
can you
It's a
imagine
very
being the
difficult
manager
one.
deciding
You know,
this?
right now, Kane is horribly out of form, and it's not a question of. You see, people seem to think that dropping a player is a punishment. No, it isn't. You drop a player because you give them then space to work out what's wrong, to give them a little break from the cauldron of actually playing on the pitch, so then they can settle a little bit and then come back. Right. This is the craziness a little bit. It's like, oh, we can't drop Kane. He's the best. It's like, we're doing it for Kane and for the club. You do it to help him. It's not a punishment, right?
See,
so if dropping Kane will help him get his head straight a little bit, that's what you do.
Yep. I mean, look at 14's over here saying that if we're winning, team is scoring goals, and Kane is playing well but not scoring, he can't be dropped. And I think what happens is when you start to lose games,
that's what's going to happen.
You're going to have an inquest. Sorry, you're going to have an inquest.
As long as we win.
So when we start to lose games, then the pressure is going to come on the players, on the team. On the manager, on the administration staff like Levy and so on, Pratchett and so on, and then the fans are going to get pressure from other fans. Okay, and the pundits are going to be on everyone's case, and there's going to be a microscope on every small little thing that everyone did wrong or didn't do right. That's when, I believe that's when people are going to point the finger at people like Kane and say, okay, right, why is he still on the pitch?
So I reckon that's coming up in our next few games. We've got Liverpool. We've got Liverpool. We've got West Ham in the Carabao Cup. And then we've got Leicester. Brighton's it's going to be a tough game, but it's not going to be as tough as somebody like Liverpool or West Ham.
Oh, definitely, especially if we play them this weekend. They've got 8 players out injured. Yeah, no. I mean that's the thing. I mean, look, what Cody's saying is true as well. You know, it's not just about whether or not he's scoring. It is a question of whether or not he's contributing. The question is he contributing in the right areas? We don't know. That's for Conte to decide. If he decides that he isn't, then I
have to say, as far as technically, as far as like what I've seen Kane do, that last game, I saw Kane do a lot of things. Mm-hmm. Some of them didn't pan out. Okay, some of them he did get the opportunity, he didn't put it away. Some of them the opportunity didn't present himself, but he still made the run. Right? So,
oh dear,
and he's gone.
I think Harry Kane's primary responsibility as striker is to score goals. That is your number one. Said, So if he's not scoring goals, the question is, why do you get to keep playing? So as long as we're winning, it's not affecting us. But it's what Shane said and what Lucas said is, if we don't win, questions will be asked. Look what happened at Arsenal. They lose to Liverpool. They lose to Man United. Aubameyang, now he gets dropped. He's had just as bad a season. Actually, he's had a better season because he scored a few more, but he's not in good form. But he kept playing. As soon as a couple of losses came and he wasn't scoring in those games, that's it. Dropped against Everton. And I think that might happen with Kane.
At the moment, we can't drop Kane because, he's playing reasonably well, but there's nobody you're going to entrust it to. Alfie Devine or Dane Scarlett.
I think.
Well,
do you just play Son up top?
Well, Conte did turn around and say that he thinks that he might be able to convert Steven Bergwijn into a striker. That's not what I'm advocating before anyone has a go at me for it. So maybe Conte is thinking along those lines.
We don't play with an out-and-out striker. We play with a front three that are all very compact. So it's almost like we're playing with 3 attacking mids. What I would do if we dropped Kane, and by the way, I'm not saying we should drop Kane. I'm not saying that. But if we did, I would put Son in the middle, keep Lucas where he is, and I'd put Bergwijn to the left of the 3. Sorry, to the left of the 3.
Yeah, left of the 3. Yeah.
And see what happens. But that's or even Brian Hill. I'll give Brian Hill a chance. But
sorry,
at the moment, you don't drop Kane. It's hard to drop him at the moment, I guess, because we're winning.
Sorry, guys. There's been some issues with London internet, and I've definitely seemed to have come across them. Can I just quickly go through some comments because I'm falling very, very far behind in the comment side of it. Obviously, Bryce, we can't explain about the Dombele £200,000 a week. Listen, that's his money and how he gets it. Let's just complain more about Boris Johnson, right? John Fitzpatrick. Son is a big player now. How many times has he turned up playing vital? Yes, he is definitely a big player. He's definitely the reason why everybody loves him. Blue Note 73. At the moment, there's no one to replace Kane with. I think as long as Kane keeps putting in a shift, you can't really replace him with anyone anyway.
But
as long as he puts in a shift.
Isn't that becoming an excuse now at the club?
No. Listen. What I'm saying is that when you have a striker that plays in your team and is not scoring goals, then you might think to yourself as a manager, okay, let me give the other guy a run for a little while. Give him like 2-3 games, right? It's not that he's punishing anyone. He's just giving that guy a break. Maybe he's on the wrong momentum or something.
No, you missed what I said.
And give the other guy a little run.
You missed what I said. I was saying, when fans say there's no one to replace him, isn't that an excuse? Because when he was injured in the Champions League final, Poch played Son and Moura up front. So we did replace him. We just changed the way we went about our business.
Yep. No, I agree with you.
I'm just asking, is it now becoming a bit of an excuse with us at Spurs? That, you can't replace him. You can't replace him. There's no one to replace him.
Is there anyone on the bench that you... Okay, look, I could, in my mind, I can perceive that you could change not change the formation as such, because you can have the striking position dropping back again when he needs to. You can stick Moura in there if you needed to. All right? You can stick Sonny in there, and you can bring Bergwijn on, right, to strengthen the wings. Right? I believe that you may not necessarily win a game, but at the end of the day, you do have players that can play 11. You do have 11 players to play.
You could go to a 3-5-2.
That would do the trick. Moura and Sonny.
That's what we're going to end up doing in the long run with Conte. 3-5-2 in the long run.
Yeah, I think so.
Apparently, Cody Mack saying that.
Striker.
Okay, Cody Mack is saying we can't compare ourselves to Palace because they actually have a backup striker.
He's got a point.
Luca 14 is saying Moura has not scored a Premier League goal in 20 prior to Norwich. I'm so glad he did. Glad he did. Which is, Kane has scored in 14. So technically he's a better striker. Let's just move on. We have Crocodox in the house. Good evening, Crocodox. If he stays and we want top 4, we need Kane to be firing. The only way we get him firing is to keep playing him until something clicks.
Well, so that's the other approach.
Yeah, benching makes a point, but nothing else.
Of playing a player into form as well. Both approaches are equally valid depending on the player.
That's what Cody Mack and Bob Spur say as well. That's
right. I think the situation with Arsenal is slightly different.
Sometimes you drop players.
I think the situation with Arsenal is something different. I think there was definitely a personality or an ego clash there. With Kane, I think it's something totally the opposite way.
No, Aubameyang's been awful. He's been
awful.
That's why he got dropped. He's been terrible.
Aubameyang has had one good season since he moved to
He's
Arsenal.
the captain, isn't he? Isn't he the captain? Anyway, let's forget about them for a second. Let's just quickly move on. To be honest, Conte, Benteke would probably really go well at somewhere like Brighton. Good for him. I think maybe he would. You know what? That would actually make sense. That would actually that would help, like Maupay and people like that pass the ball, get round, and not have all the defenders rushing at them. Right. Yep. Gene Han is in the house. Good evening, Gene. Son's been our best player overall since the 18-19 season. Overall, I agree. Will Stewart against Norwich, Kane's hold-up play was awful. It may not necessarily have been the best. Right. I've got another comment over here. Meow. Losing games doesn't help the club. Absolutely right. When we lose games, that's where the inquest turns up. The pressure goes on. We all start getting hysterical. We all start pointing our finger towards everybody and anything. And we all say, listen, you know what? Jose's still the problem. That happens, by the way.
I know.
Oh, we didn't. I don't know. The classic one is me. I'll turn around and say, oh, is that time when we didn't spend for 3 transfer windows? Right. So
that's true, though.
I know.
That's true.
The thing is, the harmful effects of Jose for a season and a half, right? You can't be ignored.
What harmful effects? What harmful effects?
He got us to a final.
Give us defending Mourinho. You see, for me, it's not about defending Mourinho and his record or anything like that. It is for me. I took exception to the fact that people prejudged him, right? Yeah. And we have that thing of no matter what good someone does, and we get it with players a lot. No matter how good they are, as soon as someone decides that they don't like that player, that's it. Yeah. It's all confirmation bias after that. Everything that they do right is lucky. The one that I love, I can't remember who it was who said it. Because Moura scored against Norwich, that was his level, right? He's a championship level player. So obviously it's fine that he's got, there's no achievement in scoring against Norwich, right?
Isn't it? Yeah.
It's a Premier League
so
game. You scored who's ahead of you.
So when he scored 2 goals at Old Trafford, we beat them 3-0 under Poch. Is that his level as well?
Exactly.
Semi-final Ajax.
Yeah. Guys, here's an interesting question because I'm trying to think whether or not this is how true a point this is. This is I can't pronounce the name. Is it Los Keflaut?
It looks like Los Sky Flout.
That's the one from before, right?
Yeah. Do me a favor, Lo. Can you type in there how you want this to be pronounced? Because I'm having a really hard time. I want to read your comments, but it's really hard to read your name out. But very, very quickly, guys, because I think this is the point which I'm not technically familiar on. But I think I remember when Son first came and Poch got him to run until he was dropping and throwing up and stuff, right? That made something out of Son compared to what he was before he came to our club. But Lowe is saying whenever the manager changed, Son's role changed, and he adapted well every time. So if that's the case, which I think may be right, because like I said, I haven't been observing too much since Poch's time what Son's been doing in terms of roles and positions. If that's true, then that tells you that the inner core of this particular player is something to be admired, because when you've been asked to play a different role and a new manager comes in and asks you to change again to do something else, and you've stepped up, then that shows you the pedigree of the player that you are. So technically, would that make Son an elite level player?
Yes. Simple answer, yes.
He is already.
Yeah. He's a world beater. He's probably the best left winger in the Premier League.
Agreed. I go definitely.
I've been calling Son Mr. Tottenham all season, and I've been doing it on streams. Right? Go back and watch the streams. You'll see me. I've always loved Son. I've got 3 Tottenham shirts. Two of them have got a name and number on them. Both of them are Son number 7, right? So I've not said anything about it, but don't tell me that I don't support Son. I do, right?
You do.
As far as I'm concerned, he is my favorite player above Kane. Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously, it wasn't directed directly at me, but I'm saying this idea that Kane is the golden boy and Sonny doesn't get the credit. Yeah, that's not true of everyone.
Protomac is a wonderful person. And Scott M is a wonderful person too. If you guys want to argue with each other, trust me, come over here and argue online. Don't do it in the chat. Come here and do it. Really, what's happened right here is that Potomac is in a jovial mood, and Scott's in Scott mood, and therefore it sounds like Scott's being a little bit angry or aggressive. He's not. This is just normal Scott. No, this is just Scott. Scott is quite forceful with his points. He doesn't hold it back. No sweetness and sugar on it sometimes. Until he smiles.
The difference is that Scott when he posts, he's essentially posting exactly what he means to say.
Yeah.
And it's direct. But when you actually talk to Scott directly, sorry to talk about in the third person, Scott, but you're not here. When you talk to him directly, it's still within a rational, calm, measured manner. It's just what he's saying might be said with extremeness, but it's not the manner that he's saying, it's just what he's saying.
Right, just a quick one over here. Bob Spur is asking if we could name a starting 11 going forward. We will come back to that. I just want to quickly go through some of the comments. I've missed out so many people. Like Gene Hun is in the house. Hello, Gene. And Gene Honey saying, I actually don't mind Kane as long as he's doing the dirty work that typical strikers do. If he's used like Llorente, for example, battling and winning and if we're winning and scoring goals, then what's the problem? I agree. If we're battling and winning, it doesn't matter. You're 11 players, not all of them is going to score a goal. Why Scott M is saying, why would Kane come out and Mora stay in when Kane is producing more, playing much better, and at least has a chance to improve? Makes no sense. This is the Lamella effect. This is called the Lamella effect. We care more about the passion the man has for the shirt and shows it to the crowd, like you're in the theater.
We want them to work hard. We
Mr.
want
K,
hard workers.
K,
that is the fundamental thing that you want from the footballer.
Sorry, Rez. Can I just
go ahead, Sus.
This comment about Mora. Mora is the only player in this team right now that travels with the ball and takes on players. No one else carries the ball and takes on. No one else is dribbling.
Running back.
Nobody's dribbling.
No,
So
I compare him to a running back in American football. I compare him to the guy that he's going to grab the ball right from the quarterback and he's going to weave his way through everyone to get to where he needs to get to. Whereas the others are going to stand in their position and say, "Throw me the ball, throw me the ball."
Son
Whereas
does
he's
as
going to
well.
say,
Son
"No,
runs at
I'm
players
running with
too.
it."
Shane said it. Son runs at players as well.
No,
it does happen. But
I think he carries the ball much further.
Ultimately,
right? Okay. Cody Max got some interesting stuff here. The Harry Kane Premier League tracker: 239 starts, 167 goals, 33 assists, 13 golden boots.
3 golden boots, not 13.
3 golden. Whoops!
Can you imagine?
13. He's only been in the 8 leagues. Right. Right. Okay. So listen.
Punchberg workouts.
I think is it Paul? Have I got the name right? I'm not too sure. Eugene normally corrects me. It is Paul. I'm sure.
I call him Steve, but I call everyone whose name I don't know Steve.
Right. Evening all. Evening to you. I think it is Paul because Cody's confirmed it. Right. And View on Spurs. Okay. Very nice to see you in the chat.
Hello.
Would much rather throw a young player in at the moment. Why not? Kane needs to be benched for his own good, and at the moment it's a team game, not just about him. The problem is that if you're not scoring a goal, right, that's one thing. But if you're pulling the defense inside out and you're dropping down and you're doing this and you're doing that, that's because you got maturity in the game. The problem is if you stick on someone like a Scarlett, he's not going to have that level of maturity. So you're not going to see all the other bits and pieces that Kane does for the team, right? So I would say that if Kane was getting to a stinky position of playing in the team, then I would say, yeah, fair enough. Put him on the bench, stick on a young player, give him an opportunity. But right now, he's still performing work. He may not be getting the results in terms of the goals and the assists, but he's still doing some work on the pitch. And that's the maturity of a player.
Sometimes we don't see it because the telly only shows a snapshot of what's happening. We don't see Kane off the ball like you do at a stadium, pulling players out of position. The off the ball work that we don't see on the television, you only see when you're at the match. It's really hard to say with only getting a snapshot of what Kane does.
It's like a good example. I mean, it's not a good example. It's a sort of slightly comparable situation. I think I've got the right player. Alex Ferguson, I believe, dropped Jaap Stam for a number of games because he was playing really badly, and then took him out of the squad, took him out of the match day team, put him on the bench for a period of games. And then when he came back, he was back to his best. I know that with the fact that, yes, look, the fact that we don't have someone to back up Kane is a consideration. I absolutely agree. But I think we're talking more in theory here, because really, are we going to drop Kane until we've got someone as backup? No, we can't. The question here is really about what is wrong with Kane, right? It's not a question of can we drop him. It's not a question of should we drop him. It's a question of what's wrong with him, right? Which we've discussed at the beginning of the show, and we've been going round and round on it for a while. We don't know what's wrong with Kane.
Okay.
We don't know if it's the
Here's
system.
the bottom line, guys.
We don't know if he's tired. We don't know if he's mentally checked out. But the reality is we're going to be playing him until we get a backup. That's the thing. And we don't know what the problem is. That's all it comes down to, right?
I really don't like the term backup.
We
need another striker. We don't need a backup.
A competing striker. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. But listen, to a certain degree, look, is this a dip in form, or are we seeing someone who is willfully? The thing is, right? Yeah, there's a difference between someone having a dip in form and someone who's willfully decides, you know what, I'm not going to put it all in there.
It's both.
Or we don't know.
It began as a player that didn't want to be at the club, and then when Conte came in, he's raised his game. But now, because of his 2-month sulk, he's out of form. So now he's gone into a dip of form.
Right.
But he wants to be there. He wants to be
Hold
there.
on. I mean, this whole thing started with me at the beginning saying that I saw an exchange between Sonny and Kane in the goal that Mora scored. And what I saw was that Sonny was doing his usual big smiles, big teeth, hugs. And then when Kane came in to hug everyone, he didn't look at Sonny once. Now, Kane could have scored 3 goals in that game. We could have beaten Norwich 6-0. There's a big difference between beating a team 3-0 and beating a team 6-0. That's what we're missing. That's the reality of it. You know it. I know it. You know, it's. You're right. I think you're right that his form has dipped, and therefore he needs to pick it up in terms of playing. Yeah, the way he's doing it right now. But I still believe that there's an element inside the person that's not completely there. And when Kane used to play completely openly for the shirt, the guy was on fire, man. The guy was on fire.
Mr. K, right? Fans need to understand this. When in the summer, I predicted that Harry Kane would leave the club. It didn't happen. Okay? Then I said, now that he's staying against his will, he's going to check out. And everyone told me, no, he's not. He's a professional. He wants to beat Greaves' record. And he's going to be good. He's not that kind of a person. I said, you don't understand the psychology of a football player then, if that's what you think. And I got all the abuse, the usual nonsense that comes when you have an opinion and it's against the majority of the opinions. And the argument that was said to me was that Luka Modric, when he was forced to stay, he still had a good season. The problem with that is Luka Modric was never a Spurs through and through. He came from another club to us and was happy to go to another club. And at some point he'll leave Real Madrid and go and play in the MLS or in China. Harry Kane, since 10 years old, has been institutionalized through and through Tottenham. It's in his heart, his veins, his blood. He is Tottenham, right? So when you make that decision, I don't want to be here anymore, it's a much bigger decision than what Luka Modric or Bale made.
Yeah,
because
agreed.
He's having an argument with his soul. So once he has made that decision, his soul is now broken. I'm free of this. So to then have to check back into that, it's a big ask psychologically for a player. You can't compare what Bale did and Modric and Berbatov to what Harry Kane did. When Harry Kane decided I want to leave, that was a huge decision for Harry Kane. Massive. Yeah. So on that sense, yeah.
I think you're right. I think the way that each player takes it
as well for him.
No, I think you're right. I think the thing is that I think that sometimes when you burn certain bridges, it's very difficult to rebuild them. Ashes don't hold up to glue. So I think there's the dynamic. I think there's definitely something going on between him and Sonny. Something's happened behind the scenes.
Do you think so?
They've had a clash. And as two professionals, they can still get on the pitch and play. But the problem is that once you've lost that connection, you've lost that connection. So personally, I would like some sort of clearing of the air. If Conte can organize a boxing match or something, obviously I've got money on Sonny being the quicker fister, but I can imagine Kane doing one, and that's it. That's all he needs to do. But anyway, I digress. That would be interesting to see those two boys patch it up. Now, as you said, in 20 days we find out
if there is a problem.
Yeah.
We might be reading far too much into what is essentially one gesture.
Yeah,
I don't think there's an issue.
As well.
No, I mean, look. After that particular gesture, right? Yeah, there was an incident that happened just a little time back when Sonny had the ball, and Kane had passed Sonny the ball, and he went to burst into the goalie's area, expecting the ball to come to his feet. Instead, Sonny went for a shot. It deflected, and then ended up towards Kane. It hit him, and they went off. And Kane was turning around thinking, "Hey, geezer, come on, what's going on? Pass it, pass." Like
players
pass
do that
the ball
to each
here.
other. Yeah, but players do that to each other all the time.
No, I get that.
All
I get
players
that.
do that all the time.
I get
Again,
that.
we also have to be cautious of reading too much into things because we
maybe you're right.
genuinely
Okay, I'll
don't
tell you what I'll
know.
do. I'll tell you what
That's
I'll
the
do.
thing.
Rez, I will take that, and I'll adopt it, right? I will not try to reinforce my point any further, because, like I said, when I saw this, I said to myself, "Is this the right thing for me to do? Is this the right road for me to walk down to find more stuff?" Because I could just be attracting negativity.
Sorry, Mr. K, I don't want to interrupt, but you had a super chat waiting there. Just make sure you don't lose it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. That's okay.
the
last point before I move on to the super chat. Roger Collins saying that Son's upbringing with his father and spending his youth years at the German club academy, he grew up with discipline and inherently easy to coach.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah, that makes sense. That does make sense. He. I think when it comes to his career, he has this thing about. Because he grew up with that father that was very, very strict, very, very disciplinarian.
Yeah.
When it comes to his work, it's like whatever my boss tells me, I'm going to do. And I think that is something that makes sense given what he's gone through. Yeah, absolutely.
No.
Right. So sounding racist, is that a Korean thing? Because I've known a few Koreans and they are very disciplined. They are very, very sort of regimented, and
you've pulled on a very, very long thread, to be honest.
Let's just turn around and say that on average that they have this respect factor for where they come from is a little bit more than what we have over here. So I think
it's a lot of different things. It's a lot of different things.
I'll say it. I'll say it. I think in the Far East they're raised with better disciplines than what we are in Europe and the West. I think in the West we've got a lot of bad habits.
There's a reason for it. There's a reason. The reason is essentially it actually boils down to the major split between Eastern philosophies and Western philosophies. Western philosophies are all based on the individual. So it's about individualism and individual freedoms and liberties. The East is about the collective. It's about moving together as one unit. Is one better than the other? No, it's just different. But what you will find in Eastern, those that follow a more Eastern philosophy, is that you'll find that you'll have more respect for your elders, much more willingness to knuckle under and put one's individuality aside in order to gain a different goal. So it is part of the culture of countries in the Far East, such as China, Japan, South Korea, Malaysia, Thailand, spreading into India and into the Middle East. So you'll get it, but it's not exclusively a Korean thing or necessarily a generalized Korean thing, because Korea is actually quite Westphilic. They are very, very embracing of Western ideas as well. So you get a little bit of a mixture within the cultural sphere as a whole.
Right, guys, I just want to quickly point out this particular super chat that Gaguma has put in. It says, thank you, Gaguma. It says, do you think Conte has plans for Gil? I hope so. I'll give my 2 pence. I think he's going out on loan. Personally. Go on, guys. Anything?
I think he is not going to be a long-term Spurs player, unfortunately. He's exciting to watch.
He's exciting.
He doesn't fit Conte's system really particularly well. It's very difficult to fit him in to a 3-5-2 or a 3-4-3 with a 3-4-3, you've either got your inside forwards and your striker, which he's neither. With your 3-5-2, he's got, and in both he's got wing back. See you later, Sean. Again, and Hill isn't a wing back. He's a winger. He's an out and out winger. He bombs to the byline and crosses, but he doesn't have a defensive play. So I don't think
with Conte's system, he said that Roden is the backup for Eric Dyer. Is that the same for Hill? Is he Sonny's backup?
I don't see it, Shane. I just don't see them as being comparable enough for him to be able to understudy Sonny. And I just don't see a role for him. It's not because he's a bad player. He just doesn't fit. He's a winger. Conte doesn't use wingers. And
Son's a winger.
Sonny's an inside forward. You know, it's slightly different. A winger is about holding width, really. Whereas an inside forward is one who will drive in towards the box. And that's what Sonny does really well. If Gil can do that, yes, maybe. But I don't see it.
We haven't seen it.
No, we haven't.
We haven't seen it. So we really can't tell if he really fits.
But everything he's done before, all of the roles that he's played at the sort of previous clubs and for Spain has always been very wide outside. So
right, guys. Guys, listen, we've gone past the 2-hour mark. I just want to say quickly byes to a few people that have left already. I've got this one over here, which I've put up. Luca 14 saying that he's got to say good night to all. Good night. Sean Hurl earlier in the evening turned around and said that he's got to go as well. So good night to Sean. And there's a couple of people that have come into the chat, which I didn't notice. Aaron Dubs in the house. He's trying to correct me on the pronunciation, but Mr. Lowe, if you are listening, please do kind of tap something in there so I know for next time. If not, next week we'll catch up on that. Aaron Dubs, good to see you. Sean Hell is saying ciao. I think there's been a back and forward between Protomac and Scott.
Yes.
Right. They've been at each other for a little while. And in the chat, guys, listen, this is Talk to K. Talk to K. Talk to each other, but come here and talk to me as well. Bring it on here. I do pop the link into the stream every now and again. Bring your 2 pences out here. Sometimes when you type things into the chat, you cannot pick up when someone's being tongue in cheek. You can't pick up if they're just in a mood, that they might be drunk, and so forth. Or sometimes you won't realize that maybe someone is being serious when it doesn't look like they're being serious. So that's the problem with the chat sometimes. Come over here. I do throw the link out. Make your microphone work, and that's all I need. Don't even need a picture of you. You could just literally come over here and just do this if you wanted to. But that's fine. And very quickly, I'm going to move on to the right. Now, the chemist is obviously saying that he goes, Mac, everyone loves drama. Maybe that's why Son isn't being talked about much, because he's too professional. He may be. Promac, Mr. K, maybe if the duo breaks Lampard Drogba record, things will change. With the way those two are right now,
they're only one away from.
Yeah, they're only one away.
Equaling or breaking the record? I think they're one away from
no idea,
the record.
But the thing is, the way they're playing right now, it's not going to happen. Kane during celebrations is not participating like he did in the past. Breakaway. Oh, it's yellow. I thought it was red. Okay. Kane during celebrations is not participating like he did in the past. On the outside, Son is kind of snubbing him. Maybe different views of opinion, different views and clips that people are watching. I, for example, did the same thing as well. It does sound. Scott M is saying it does sound like Son had a rough upbringing. No, I think what it was.
I don't think it was rough.
What was rough about Son was that he'd left his family at an early age to come to Europe by himself, and that was what was really rough, because he was quite young at the time. And
he had a strict upbringing with his father and things, so he has lived a very disciplined life. I wouldn't necessarily call it rough. Rough suggests that there's been a lot of adversity.
Aurier style. Aurier, that's rough.
Yeah.
Mora, that's rough.
Yeah,
Vinicius. My days, Vinicius.
It's been
that's
more,
really rough.
Very strict, very regimented, very sort of boom, 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 boom. You do this, you do this, you do this.
Basically, there's other. Right. There is a cultural background to all of this as well, because don't forget, Koreans
course
are
there is.
slightly different from, say, Japanese players. But at the end of the day, they're similar compared to each other when you compare them to us. Right. And over here, Loss is basically saying, I'm going to call him Flout. Flout is saying 100% Kane was Tottenham. I think deep down in his heart, he's still Tottenham. You can't get rid of that. This is a difficult situation for both Kane and the fans.
Yeah, maybe.
And Roger Collins is basically saying Gil is overhyped by some of our fan base. He has to improve on many fronts, being able to play in order to play in the Premier League. I would like to hype him up. I would like to hype him up.
understood why we bought him.
I think he's a brilliant player. But
Jamie,
like I said, I'm sentimental FC, so I'm going to see things like that. Jamie gets in the house. We missed you, Jamie. And listen, we're at that stage now where I got to start calling it a day for this particular stream, because we've gone over by 10 minutes already. But just before we go, you know, we've interacted with the comments. I wanted to come to Shane first and just ask Shane. Shane, we've had a good run. Conte has been training the players. There is definitely something on the pitch that we can see, that the movement of the players, the way they're playing, there's a sense of belief that's starting to creep in. In order for someone like Davis to step up, there has to be a togetherness in the team. Okay, fair enough. We haven't got the perfect scenario with Kane, but on the whole of it, we're moving in the right direction. Shane, the next few games coming up are very crucial to us. Do you think we have the makeup in order for us to succeed at that? Or do you think this is Conte's moment for him to come across the reality of Spurs?
I think it's a bit of both. Definitely there's an element of Conte's moment, especially with the Liverpool, West Ham, Leicester. Those three games are gonna be a test for. Well, they're a test for any side in the competition. Liverpool, you know, they've dropped points. They're not infallible, you know. It really does depend. I honestly have to say, it really does depend on this COVID outbreak. We don't know how many players are involved. It's going to be a test for the whole squad. If Conte can get the best out of the so-called fringe players, that's another term that I really don't like, is fringe players. You know, they're our players, it's squad players. You know, it's not fringe players, because they're not left out in the cold. They're, you know, well, maybe Delhi is, which is, I don't know.
No, I think you're right. I think if you're going to call anyone a fringe player, it'd be probably with the under-18s.
Yeah.
Delhi's known as a shit player.
Yeah, straight up.
Okay, listen, guys. Shane, is there anything you'd like to plug yourself, if you're going to be anywhere, or just your last 2 pence before I put you into the back room, because I really want to wrap everyone up now.
Yeah, no, just... You can find me on Twitter at Shandy_Spurs, and been a pleasure to talk to you.
Right, we've got a couple of latecomers which are coming. Shane, if you want to hop up, stay around the back. We are going to be there in a little bit. Okay.
Yep.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
We've got a few more people that have come into the stream. Matthew, it's great to see you. Jamie gets obviously there. I think there was another one as well. Gas Spurs as well has popped in. Just let us know that there's a bunch of cruelty going on, unfortunately. There's many things that we don't know about. Gene Han, I haven't seen you for a while, but it's good to see you in there. What is our most expensive what do we do with our most expensive signing? We'll find out in January. Will is saying that Gil is a puppet or a muppet. And hello from Matthew. But coming to you, Stel, thank you very much for coming into the show on short notice as well. I do appreciate that. And congratulations on what you're doing with We Are Tottenham TV. Just a very, very quickly, if you possibly could. You know, we don't know what's going to happen in the future. We don't know how the reaction is going to be. But in your gut, if you want to look that far, what do you feel that the next few games might reveal about Conte and our team?
I think it's going to expose players that are being praised at the moment, like Ben Davies and Sanchez, especially Ben Davies. As soon as we come up against a team with real pace, Ben Davies will come unstuck. I think it's going to show that we don't have cover for key areas like the wide areas. I also think it's going to make players like Skip better. It's going to show how important Heung-min Son is to us. So it's going to be a mixed bag. I just think we're on an educational journey where Conte is learning about his players, and he's trying to see what they're like in different scenarios, different pressurized situations, different levels of competition, different levels of opposition. Take it with a pinch of salt. January and especially August are the most important months for us with Conte, because that's when he gets to get rid of the players and bring in the ones he wants. And for me, just enjoy as much as we can this season. Next season's the season where we can really begin to say, right, let's see what this is really about. At the moment, he's doing the best he can with what we got, so it is what it is. And good luck predicting anything with Tottenham, as always.
Come on, you Spurs. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
No,
I'm going to put you in the back room if you want to stay there for a bit. We're going to be there in a little while. What's your outro, by the way? Have you figured one out yet? It's like carry on Spurs, or what have you got?
Outro.
Not outro. Like, what's the last thing you want to say when you leave a stream? Like, say for example, you're going to be on We Are Tottenham TV.
Look, so just to clarify, okay, the thing with We Are Tottenham TV, I was speaking to Ben and Sim about doing a more tactical coaching based show, something that I've wanted to do for a while, but it's difficult to do it on my stream or come on other shows and do it because we end up having fun and bantering, and it's a bit more jolly. So to have something that's a bit more serious is hard, and their channel's perfect for it because they do so much content, so many shows. I think, and I haven't got time to do 10 shows a week, so it's just a good platform to do it. They agreed. We gave it a go tonight. If the response is good, we'll do a weekly one. If not, gave it a go. So that's that. Otherwise, Tottenham away every Monday. Everyone's welcome. You can all come on. It's an open show, and we do what everyone else
Mondays.
does.
That's Mondays, correct? Mondays. What time?
8:30 p.m. And if you really want to have a laugh, every Tuesday 7:30, the two boys from America bring in the big dick energy, as they call it.
Is that on Tuesdays or Fridays? Sorry, I thought that's on Fridays.
We moved it to Tuesday because of their work. It's easier for them to do
I
Tuesdays,
see.
so.
Sorry, I slept right through that. Unfortunately, I woke up quite late today. But listen, next time I'll wake up a little bit earlier for them.
Yeah.
Okay?
I mean, if you want to read what's in the WhatsApp groups, you might keep up to date. But it's okay. Don't worry about it.
I tell you what it is. I get flooded with WhatsApp messages. Honestly, I'm not joking. Anyway, Stellis, I'll let you go. Ciao.
Everyone, sign, subscribe, Mr. K. Boom.
Thank you. Oh my days. Just you and me. We're back to us again. Just the two of us.
Just the two of us.
It's like it's an open show the same way as an open marriage. It's the way Stellis has it arranged.
This is Bryce. This is Bryce's wonderful sense of humor.
I love Bryce's humor. I love Jamie Gitt's humor as well. And Bryce has got a lovely one here. It says, Mr. K asked the question of Stelios. Did he teach Conte everything he knows? Not everything. He's kept a few things in reserve. But just lastly, yourself, Rez. I know we can't predict what the future is going to bring, but there's telltale signs maybe in your mind that something's happening. If you, I mean, I'm not going to hold you to this, but do you feel that we're going to come good, or do you think there's going to be a couple of scares on the way, but we're still going to come good, or do you think it's all going to be all tears like Jose?
I
mean, just a rough sense.
You asked a big question. Look, I'm gonna on the following basis, and I know it's unlikely. If the club has changed its way of operating, we are in for good times, in my view.
Okay.
If it hasn't, no, it's going to crash and burn. Right? Conte will, if he's properly backed, will deliver something for us. I firmly believe. If he's not backed, it'll just be more of the same. So yeah.
Okay, listen, I'm gonna wrap this show up. Do you have an outro at all? Is there anything you say like "Come on, you Spurs" or? Keep it Spurs.
I talk about the wonderful show that I'm on regularly, which is the Shelfside Spurs show. We did a stream tonight, in fact, which is an unusual day for us to stream. It was eclectic and anarchic and all over the place, as it always is, and it's wonderful, and I absolutely love doing it. So if you want something that's a slightly different flavor, please go and subscribe and watch the Shelfside Spurs shows hosted by the wonderful Johnny Einstein. We did a quiz tonight, which we always do, and I won. Which was unexpected. I was
Jens lost.
Yeah, by 1 point. I sneaked in under the wire. I think it's because he was knackered.
That could be something happening with Spurs soon. With that, I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you, lovely viewers, for tuning in. Yes, I will be making this regularly on Tuesdays from now on. I've literally, even today, for example, even without Eugene, we made sure that the show came on. We're a little bit late, many apologies, but we'll try to keep it consistently and regularly for you guys. I was a bit surprised there wasn't that many streams on this evening, like last week and the week before, but that's it'll be up and down for everyone else. But for myself and Rez over here, good night to you. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on,
and
you
just
Spurs.
In case you guys don't know what my opinion is, we're going to win 4-1. That's what I believe. Come on, you Spurs.
Panda. I got broads in Atlanta. Just to me in the family. Credit cards in the scammers. Getting no list in the band. Legacy.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Let's go now.